So if you're trying to sign more coaching clients and you're not booking enough calls, then I strongly urge you to watch this video, because if you're not getting results, like for example this, book calls, like that's book calls every single day. These are, I think it's like around 10 to 15 calls a day. And not even just that, and if you're not even converting those calls into, results like this, for example. So once this loads, Amar closing 15K 2 days, 5K in 2 days. This is probably like 7,000 USD. Book calls here and there, just a ton. If you want to scroll through my results page, you can. You're probably just gonna get your thumbs hurt. Like 10K a day over there for Hassan, just nuts. And also qualified calls as well too. Like as you can see over here, making 150K monthly, 200K monthly for an offer that requires you to be making 6 figures before you book in. Crazy stuff. So I'm gonna break down pretty much everything. So if you're not at that point where you're booking in calls, just like I showed you right now, you're converting those calls into actual cash, I strongly tell you to watch till the end, because I'm going to break down the exact step-by-step process on how you can get warm calls for your coaching business. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Mahiz. I basically scale coaching businesses for a living. I build content and appointment setting teams into coaching businesses, and I basically scale them all from there. So yeah, let's just jump right into the video. So this is the strategy that pretty much like a lot of these coaches are using nowadays, because it's the most efficient strategy. If you're not aware of it, people call it like the social funnel, the protocol. I like to call it the high ticket protocol. A lot of people like to call it a bunch of different things. But what I'm going to show you is the most efficient way to convert cold attention into book calls and appointments for your business. So the way that it works is you have content. So you have reels, stories, whatever you want to call it. And you basically funnel all of these people into having a DM conversation. There's lots of ways you can funnel people into having a DM conversation from your content. I'm going to explain how that works. And then you funnel that conversation into book calls. So you qualify, you gauge intent. So you basically, ask the questions that get them to know if they can afford your stuff, number one, if they have money. Number two, if they actually want to buy, so they're not actually there to waste your time. So you can pre-handle these things in the DMs. So when you do hop on a call with them, you pretty much know that they actually want to buy your stuff anyways. And then the book call side of things, and then the last part, which is making the prospects watch pre-handling the objection videos. And basically what this does is it handles majority of the objections that people might have about your offer. So let's say, you hear a lot of people saying I need to think about it, and you ask them what's the thing you need to think about, and a lot of the times people say like, price and stuff like that. You can make pre-handling objection videos breaking down that this does require an investment, or what that investment look like, and also what that investment actually translates to in terms of like growth for your business, in terms of like growth for, let's say if you're running like maybe not an ROI offer, basically explain the benefits of what your offer will bring to their mind or anything like that. You need to have those things there, because it's going to handle the objections that people are going to have when they hop on a call. And then as a result, if you do this extremely well, if you gauge, qualify, and you see intent, and you also pre-handle objections that they might have straight away, your sales calls are probably just going to be 20 to 25 minutes. If your marketing is really good, if your content is really good, it's actually going to do the selling for you, which is really good. And then obviously from there, you convert all of that money into cash, and from there you reinvest that money back into cold traffic. So what that means is you put that money back into getting more cold eyeballs, into getting more high intent leads, into getting more engaged leads. That's going to funnel through this whole system. And the reason it works extremely well is because it's very input based. And what I mean by this is that this is an input based system. So to give you an example of what that means is, if you send 100 warm outbounds, which is if you have 100 DM conversations, you're most likely going to come out with around 10 to 20 booked appointments from those 100 conversations if your marketing and stuff is qualified. So the 100 conversations is the actual input that you're doing, okay? And then the output is having the calls. And then the calls, when you hop on the calls, them closing is obviously like the output, which is cash. So the input was 100 conversations, the output was cash. And then obviously the input also starts from the content as well too. So the content is one of like the major inputs they need to have. So it's a very input based system. It's not like, for example, VSL ads or like webinar ads where, like, for example, you have to like put a lot of, like, for example, money into getting so much traffic and then funneling in people, because at that point your input is your traffic and sometimes you can't really control that. But with this, you can control who you send the messages to, who you DMing, the types of people who are seeing your content, the types of qualified leads you getting, all that type of stuff. So I'm going to break down exactly how all of this stuff works, step by step, starting from the actual reels and content, because this is where everything starts, okay? So believe it or not, this actually qualifies better than this. So what I mean by this is that the content and what you're saying in your videos is actually what's going to give you the qualified leads in the first place. So let's say, for example, I have an offer and I'm selling to people that have 9 to 5s. If my content is just about, how you can go from being broke to rich, or how you can, go from like being a college student to actually making money, I'm only going to attract people who are broke, or people who are just like basically college students, aka people that don't have, let's say, for example, money to invest in your program. But if you make content around, if you make content around like 9 to 5s, if you make content around your jobs, if you make content around like the stuff, the life that people want to live after they stop working their jobs, you're going to attract a lot more higher quality people that actually want to buy your stuff in the first place. So content is like the major qualifier, and a lot of people don't actually talk about how big of an issue content is, because everyone just says, hey, go to your competitors, copy what they're doing. But a lot of the times the competitors will be very big. So what that means is they make extremely broad videos that just targets everyone. So when you copy that content, guess what? You're just going to target everyone, and you're not going to actually target the types of people that you want to work with. So the way you fix this is you fix a couple of things. You basically give the people you want to follow you a reason to follow you. And the way you give them a reason is by providing 3 things. Number 1, valuable or insight-based content. This will attract people that you want to bring because you're giving them a reason to follow you. Your profile needs to be good, so the profile needs to also give them a reason to follow you. And the offer needs to actually serve them. Okay, so the offer you're selling, what you're actually providing, needs to actually serve. You can't be providing a course that is not beneficial to people working or trying to leave their 9 to 5s, and you have an offer that's for people that are dentists. It's like no one's going to be attracted to that. So if the content is good, which I'm going to explain to you what that kind of looks like, if the profile looks good, you're also going to get good stuff. And if the offer is good, you're going to get people actually buying and converting. So what do I mean by having good content? Because everyone kind of talks about it. Good content, in my opinion, is content that just speaks to your ICP very clearly. So what I mean by ICP, your ideal client profile, the types of people you want to attract, your dream customers, basically. Content that speaks directly towards them, in my opinion, is classified as good content. Most of the time, these types of videos are not going to get the views that everyone tries to get, is because it's not broad content that tries to capture a whole bucket and maybe tries to segment your ICP in between those people. It actually just focuses on your ICP. And the reason you want this to happen is because, number 1, even though it doesn't get that much views, the people that you're actually trying to serve who watch those videos are actually going to resonate with it a lot more compared to like other people. And I know a lot of people, they throw the argument of what's better, making broad content to get a bunch of views, or making niche content to get less views but get more targeted views. I basically relate to getting more niche views and more targeted views. You can get more broader, but sometimes it just brings in a ton of people that are not going to buy your stuff anyways, and it just makes the DM conversations a lot harder. I like to basically niche down at the start if I'm trying to just start the strategy, and then I basically just like put money in to get targeted viewers to actually see the content. Okay, so ICP is basically the main thing. Make content around the pain points your ICP have, the pain points, the desires, the objections that people have, and also about yourself if you're coaching offer kind of revolves around that. Okay, cool. Profile, next part. So this part is also really easy. It's very basic. It's like I'm gonna draw the profile thing over here. So it's gonna have you, your name. So why I like to have these, because you have like 3 lines, you can actually make 4, but I just like to have the first line of who you help, and then this is like the who, and then the second part is kind of like your case study, so what you've been able to achieve, and then the third part is just kind of like a call to action. So if you help athletes get back into shape, you basically be, I help athletes get back into shape, and then you can have your accolades over there. You can be like, hey, I was a previous athlete, I did blah 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 blah, and then you can have your call to action. DM me if you want to get back into shape or something like that. That's a very clear call to action, and it gives people a reason to actually follow you, because the people who that you help are going to be like, okay, cool, this person is making content just for me. Cool. And then your offer, I can go into depth about having crazy offers, but that's not the point of this video. I actually do that in the high ticket protocol that just kind of like breaks down how I do this, which is basically like, my own systems that I basically build into people's businesses. That's kind of like what we do there, but like just to give you an understanding of an offer, make something that people actually want to buy. And if you don't know what people want to buy, you need to speak to more people that are in your actual target audience, because what's funny is people are going to tell you what they want to buy. Most of the time, it always revolves around like, the 3 pillars, like, money, health, relationships, all that type of stuff. But as long as you can create an offer around something like that, and also package it in a way that people actually want to buy it, you're going to get a lot of people. I think the hardest part is like always packaging the offer in a way that people actually want to consume it, because a lot of the times people will have the offer, they'll have the brain thing, but they're not really packaging it in a way that people actually want to buy it. So what I mean by this is, let's say people will know exactly what someone needs. Let's say, for example, let me give you an example. So like there was a story where it was like, I think it was like there was a dog that had like a bunch of fleas, and the kid actually was telling his grandma, he was like, hey, the dog has a bunch of fleas, like what's going on, like we have to get rid of this. And the grandma was like, oh, just give it garlic. And the kid was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And he gives the dog garlic, but the dog doesn't want to eat it. He's like, nah, I don't need it. And he runs off, and then the kid goes back to the grandma, and he's like, hey, the dog didn't eat the stuff. And the grandma's like, oh, no, you just have to wrap it. You have to wrap it in beet, for example. And then he's going to eat the garlic. So basically what she did is she told him to, hey, you need to package what you're giving this person in an attractive manner so that they end up eating it. Because a lot of the times you can't really give people what they need. I can't go to people and be like, hey, you need this type of person. I just go to them and I tell them what they think they need. And then when I do bring them on, I tell them what they actually need. And they're like, okay, cool, essentially. But you're not going to sell someone on what they need if they feel like that's not what they need, if you know what I mean. It's hard to understand, but I hope that example kind of gave you some kind of clarity. So stop trying to lead with what people think they need and start to lead with what they want. And you only know what people want when you have DM conversations and phone conversations with them, okay? So have more of those and you're going to have a lot more clarity. Or you can do some research. Anyways, that's that side of things done. So with this part, you should have an understanding of how you should kind of make your content and how you should package it. Like I said, just make content around people's like pain points, beliefs, and just around your content. Like just make content for your ICP. That's like the main thing. Okay, cool. So now that you do that, you're gonna make sure that all the people who are coming in are kind of qualified. And let's say that content that is made for your ICP is not really getting that much views. Since it's made for your ICP, you can actually just go ahead and just boost that video from actually IG. And what's going to happen is IG is going to send that video out to who it thinks is going to resonate with. And most likely it's going to be people in that ICP because you made the content around the ICP. So you're going to get a lot of people that are following you that kind of hit that kind of meet that criteria essentially. Okay, cool. So now we're going to have a DM conversation. This is where it gets fun. So the DM conversations is where you're qualifying and you're basically gauging intent. So what I mean by this is now that people are coming in through your stuff, not every single person is going to need your service. However, there's going to be a small handful of people that might be interested and might want to see what you want to do. But not every single person that's going to come for your content is going to be actually extremely qualified. So what you need to do here is you need to have DM conversations to make sure that these people are actually qualified and actually afford your stuff. Okay? So let me explain what I mean by this. The first thing you need to do is you need to ask them, okay, cool. You need to have a criteria of what it takes for someone to be qualified. Obviously, you might have a bunch of different things. Maybe it might be age, maybe it might be a location for some certain offers. Maybe it might be, them having money, maybe it's them having a business. You need to have those three qualifications. You need to have qualifications. I usually recommend just asking like one or two in the DMs and then just leave like whatever qualification forms that you have when they actually try to book a call to do the rest of the qualifying. But what I like to do in the DMs, I like to qualify for income. I also like to qualify for just like general stuff, like if they have a business, if they're interested in starting and stuff, if they have a problem I can solve. And I like to gauge intent. So what I mean by gauge intent is figure out how soon do they want to solve this problem. And you can actually do that in the DM so that when you hop on calls, you're actually talking to people that actually are ready to buy you stuff. So what do I mean by this? I can show you like an example of a conversation that kind of does this, but I've broken it down in so many different videos. So it's like if you want to learn exactly how I qualify and how we do qualifying, there's a video that we made one of our clients Nero, like $9,000. You can go check that video out. I'll probably like link it below. There's a part where I basically talk about the actual DM structure that we're using to get these people to buy his stuff. So if you've watched that, you're going to see exactly how we're having DM conversations with these people. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. And now the last part is the book course section. So this part is really cool because this is where you're basically just getting people to book in course, and all you're basically doing is sending them a link and giving them a reason to book right now. So I made a whole section about this in actually the high ticket protocol. Let me even give you guys like a glimpse. So basically what I've done here is I basically broke down a conversation where I break down exactly how to basically make sure people watch your stuff. So this is the one that we did for one person. Send them a free training, they book the call, and then he tells them like, hey, could you watch both of these before a call so everything makes sense when we speak. So when they're booking in the calls, you're sending them these assets that's gonna make sure that these prospects actually watch the videos and understand what they need to do. Because if you don't give someone a reason to do something, most of the time they're not really gonna do it. Okay? So what I basically do for my clients is I tell them like, hey, make it mandatory that these guys actually watch the VSL or like see how the stuff works, so that when they do hop in a sales call, you're not really spending time explaining your process, you're not explaining how things work. You're just trying to see if they have a problem that you can solve and if they're ready to solve it right now. Which if you do this properly, they're gonna be pretty much ready to do it. Okay? And I know I'm kind of like getting like extremely like no, I won't say vague, but I'm getting like extremely like condensed, is because I'm trying to like kind of break down like what we do for all our clients that books them in crazy calls in like 20-minute video, which is obviously not that easy. So if you want something like this to be done pretty much like custom, where someone comes in and they pretty much like build out this whole system for your business, then that's a separate conversation. And if you want to schedule a call for that, there's going to be a link underneath this video to actually do that, and we can actually like talk about that on call and just see how we can help you. But basically what we do here is 20 to 25 minute sales call. And then if you do your sales call or process properly, I'm not going to explain that, this is a completely different situation, then you basically collect cash. And then with this cash, use this to reinvest into your content. So what I mean by reinvest into your content is reinvest into getting more targeted people, targeted eyeballs to see your content, because your input is basically how many targeted eyeballs can you get. And then if the content is good, people are going to engage with it. And then the other input is how many conversations can I start from all of these targeted eyeballs. And if you can have 50 to 60 conversations from these targeted eyeballs, guess what? You're going to be booking a decent amount of calls, which is basically what we do for all of our clients. So use this, and I promise you're going to see results. You're going to get way more qualified. And especially the part where I explained majority of your problems, where, let's say if your stuff is really unqualified, is going to come from your content. If you fix that side of things, which is kind of like one of the hardest problems to fix, trust me, everything else is just going to work smoothly, because everything else apart from this is just honestly just inputs a specific process. But this part is where you need to kind of like get creative and actually speak to people and understand your market extremely well, so that you can articulate it in such a way that gets people to actually want to follow and engage with you. Okay, that's the tricky part. Now that you've got that side done, here's basically the funnel that I basically use. So basically when people book in a call, I just redirect them to like the VSL. So I just tell them, and then I have like a page that just says, watch this before our call. And then the VSL is there, they watch the VSL. And then have email and SMS confirmation to just make sure people actually watch the VSL. And then when they do book in a call, as you can see, you're going to get an excited and a warmed up prospect that's actually really ready to, have a conversation about how they can work together. That's pretty much it, like honestly. So there's nothing too crazy about this whole system or this whole funnel. What it just really requires is, number one, this input over here. Actually, no. Number one, really good content, and content that gets eyeballs. So if you can't get eyeballs, just pay for it. It's really easy to do. You can do it on your phone. And then the inputs of the actual DM conversations. And if you do everything which I told you, you're going to have extremely qualified calls with people that actually want to buy your stuff. Okay? That's pretty much it for me. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it kind of broke down everything. If you're interested about this being built custom into your business or your coaching business, so you can actually scale past your plateaus, book in a call with me. And yeah, if that's pretty much it. Honestly, I don't think I have anything else to say. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.